Hey ho, my name is Jo. Welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be going over the books that I recommend to you if you like this certain genre. That was really hard to say. Hello there, my name is Joanna and I refer to myself here as Jo, where here I am Fight and Read Like a Girl, where I do things bookish and polycystic ovarian syndrome related. Because if you are new, hi, how are you? If you are coming back to my channel, thank you so much for coming back. I really, really love your support. But today we're going to be going over the books that I would recommend to you if you like a certain genre. I did a little mini short version of this on TikTok, so if you want to see that, I will leave my TikTok handle down below so you can go check that out. I am going to be referring to that video for this video, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. This first book I would recommend to you if you are looking for a good middle grade, or if you have a kid who's just getting into reading, or if you are a teacher and you need a good book for your classroom. And that is Inkheart by Cornelia Funke. I definitely feel like I talk about this book a lot on my channel, but this book you follow a girl named Maggie, and her father is what she calls a book doctor. He basically repairs books for a living, and he also has this magic gift, so when he reads a book out loud, it comes to life. Well, he did that one night, and her mother disappeared. So they are trying to get her back, as well as one night this weird character shows up. Like, the book starts out like this weird character shows up, and you know, Maggie's trying to uncover and try to figure out, well, who is this guy? And all of a sudden, like, they're going on this big huge whirlwind adventure, and there's just so much adventure in this book, and a lot of weird, creepy villains. I mean, when I read this book a long, long time ago, I mean, I read this book at least once a year. I didn't read it last year, but I hopefully definitely try to get to this year. But this just has so much adventure in it, and it's definitely a great middle grade for somebody who's getting into reading. I mean, she's big. She is, what, 534 pages? She's big. But definitely one of the best books for middle grade, I think. I mean, this is right up there with another book, but if I had to pick between that one and this one, I will always and forever recommend this book to anybody and everybody who wants something middle grade. Even though she's big, she's definitely one of my all-time favorite books. Alright, the next book that I recommend to you should not be a surprise to you. When I think of YA fantasy romance, I think of this book. When I think Beauty and the Beast retellings, I think of this book. This is one of my favorite all-time books, and this is one of the books that really got me back into reading as an adult. And again, this should not be any surprise to anybody, but that is A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Brigid Kemmerer, excuse me. And oh my goodness. Okay, so this, like I said, this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling with a twist of Groundhog Day. So Groundhog Day being the movie. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that movie, but I can't remember that actor's name. I want to say Tom Hanks, but I know that is not it. I cannot think of that actor's name. I can see his face, but I can't think of his name. Anyway, I will leave a link to some information on that movie down below. But this is one of the best retellings of Beauty and the Beast that I have read in a long time. And I've read quite a few. So you follow Harper, who has cerebral palsy, and then you have Rain, who is forced to live his 17th year over and over and over again. So he's been 17 for a long time. Or he's living the same season. It's been a while since I've read this. Excuse me. So he has to repeat the autumn of his 18th year over and over again. And he has to try to get somebody to fall in love with him. When they don't fall in love with him, he repeats it. And then that's when Harper comes along, and it's his last season, his last chance to try to get somebody to fall in love with him. And here we are. Groundhog Day meets Beauty and the Beast. Definitely one of those. If this is not one of those if you're looking for a light fluffy read, I can tell you that right now. This is a very hard-hitting, I would say maybe a couple of trigger warnings when it comes to cerebral palsy, maybe a couple of trigger warnings when it comes to dragons. I really don't know. I mean, there's a dragon in here. There is cerebral palsy rep in here. There's just so much in this book. So if you like dragons, if you like Beauty and the Beast, if you like the movie Groundhog Day, I highly recommend this book to you. So this next book, I feel like I haven't talked a lot about it, but it was definitely one I did enjoy. I enjoyed this a lot, actually. And I don't know if this was her debut. Maybe it was. I really don't know. Was this her debut? No. This was not her debut, but it was a new author to me last year. And I really, really thoroughly enjoyed this book. So if you love a good mystery thriller, I recommend The Lies I Tell by Julie Clark. This one, oh, so many weird twists and turns and had me on the edge of my seat, and wow. I think I read this in like one sitting. And I also thoroughly enjoyed this book. So this one, you follow a woman who changes her personality, changes who she is, depending on what town, I almost dropped a book, depending on what town she's in. And, oh, it made me not trust anybody. Basically, in a nutshell, let's put it that way. I stopped trusting people. So, in one town, she is college student, life coach, and real estate agent. So in one town, she's a college student. In another town, she's a real estate agent. In another town, she's a life coach. And people start to catch on with this, and then she ends up winding herself into big loads of trouble. But then she tells more lies in order to get herself out of it. So it's a really, I wouldn't say it's a mystery thriller, but it's definitely like a psychological thriller, more or less. But I call it a mystery thriller because you're not sure what's going to happen next. So that's the whole mystery behind it. So definitely recommend this book if you like psychological thrillers or mystery thrillers. Alright, this next one is one that I've had for quite a while, and I never really talked about it much. But the interpretation that I get on this one is definitely a little bit different from what other people get on it, and it's just one of my favorite books, pretty much of all time. But that is The Demon King by Cynthia Williams Chima from the Seven Realms series. This whole entire series, actually, I recommend to you. So this one is a good one if you like a unique magic system. There is quite a bit of magic in here. I mean, that amulet that's on the cover, that has magic. Like, I mean, it's definitely a fantasy. It is one of my favorite fantasies. I mean, the map itself is so complex that I took a little while to memorize this map. Where is the map? I thought there was a map in here. There it is. So it took me a while. You guys don't know if you can see that. It took me a while to memorize that map. But this is, you follow two different characters. One is set to be on her own throne, and the other one is just kind of like running from everything. And they end up meeting. And it's been a while since I've read this book, so I think I need to reread it again just to remember what it's about. I read this a few years ago, so it's definitely been a while. I think it's time for me to reread it. Okay. This next one might actually be a shock to a lot of you. But this next recommendation is a romance enemies to lovers. And I was even shocked by this one when I basically said that, and I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite books of all time, but it is a book that I would recommend to you if you like the enemies to lovers trope in romance. I'm not sure. I've looked all over for my physical copy, but I can't seem to find it. I don't know if I'm unhauling it or not. So it might be in a box in storage right now. I don't know. But that is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. Christina Lauren is a duo author. So The Unhoneymooners, I thought the idea and the premise behind the story was so adorable. So I can't remember characters' names, but they're at a wedding and the bride and groom get food poisoning from the fish that they ate. So she had an all expense paid honeymoon in Hawaii. And so her sister and the best man, or her maid of honor and the best man, go to Hawaii to pretend to be them because they're twins. And these two characters end up falling in love with each other. I mean, I thought the story was actually really cute, but they were definitely not lovers. They were definitely enemies before they became lovers. But I definitely feel like, me personally, I feel like this book was a little too fast as far as falling in love with each other. But if you like the whole enemies to lovers thing, I definitely recommend this book. I think you should check it out. And last but not least, one of my favorite books of all time. This book is for if you like the apocalyptic... I can't say the word. I can never say that word. If you like The Walking Dead, the TV show, The Walking Dead, I recommend checking out this book. Okay? Hear me out. So this doesn't really have zombies or anything like that in it, but it's kind of set in that same type of world. And that is The Wolves of Winter by Tyrell Johnson. This book, so there was like a pandemic, and take COVID-19, or let's go with, take 2020, mix it with The Walking Dead, but take out the zombies. See where I'm going with this? So this is set after all that takes place, and where this girl is in this forever winter. So there was this virus that swept the world, and it took out a lot of people, and then in order to get rid of the virus, like the past, like they did like a nuclear bomb, and now everything is covered in snow. And it's snow, like the whole entire world is just covered in snow. And you follow this girl who is just going about her daily life. She is hunting for food, she's scavenging for food, and I don't remember if she's with family. Oh, so the way that the author explains it is kind of like the Hunger Games. So the Hunger Games meets The Walking Dead. But I say it's COVID-19 or 2020 meets The Walking Dead without the zombies. But it's just, you want to forget the old days, forget the summer, forget warmth, just, it's all winter. Always winter. And this book had definitely made me think and made me wonder, would we be able to go back to the way that people lived before? Because that's exactly what they had to do in this book. McBride, the main character, was just, she had to try to figure out everything for her own, scrounging for food, trying to basically survive. She lost her father to this whole virus and everything like that. Just forget everything that we know right now and live like this is basically how I can explain that right now. My brain is just not working. But I highly recommend this book to you if you are a fan of The Walking Dead. And I know that's a really weird way to put this book, but it's like apocalypse. Like, it's a post-apop... I can't say the words! Oh my gosh. Forget it. I'm not saying the word. But yeah, it's a very interesting story, and I do recommend this to you if you really do kind of like those type of worlds. So, alrighty. So that's what I have for you when it comes to, if you like this, try this book. If you made it this far in this video, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my cute little community by hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell. I try to post at least once a week. After my reading reset, I did take a little bit of a break, but I am going to try to get back into making videos where I'm trying to balance work life and video life and home life, because I do work 2 jobs. So I hope you guys will bear with me and understand that. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!